But whenever you see something like which is, that's kind of a clue that it could very well be one of those that it's one step away from an equation, right? 67, which is 22% of the recommended daily amount. And this is what you don't know. So then you can convert that directly into an equation, right? What would that look like?
Equals 2.
Yeah, of means multiply. Now again, not every problem will do this, but you do want to pay attention for the ones that will, because those are relatively easy. Okay. Is that all right? Anything else from homework stuff? What units will your answer have on that?
7.
Grams of carbs, yeah. So grams really is good enough, yeah. I like it. Okay. Anything else from homework stuff?
With like questions about the area, is it always squared?
Oh, yeah. So
It is.
guys, this room's not that, yeah, this is nice. All right, look at the floor. Everybody, look at the floor. Whoa. See how they're squares, right? So if I'm talking about area, I can cover floor with squares, for example. So that's why area is in squared units. So length could be inches, and then area would be square inches. I love it. You guys with me? And why does it make sense? I mean, if I have something that's 5 inches by 2 inches.
Because it's a 2D answer.
Yes, exactly. It's a two-dimensional answer. Watch this. Stay with me. So isn't this like, let me see if I can do this. Okay, that works. Hey, look at that. Each one of these little squares is how big? An inch by an inch, right? So how many square inches? Wow, hello. Let me get some mystery liquid in me. That's good. All right. How many little square, hello. How many little square inches are there? 10. In fact, what's the shortcut? 2 rows of 5 each is 2 times 5. That's why area is length times width. Is everybody with me? Whenever I do this, I think about ice cubes, but I like it. And then volume is how much would it take to fill this room, and then I can think when you pack boxes in a moving truck, think about Tetris, right? And you kind of like pack these boxes up. So it's really how many little cubic things, how many little cubes will fit in the room. That's why volume is cubic, because it's length, width, and height. Then it's 3D. So the units are going to be cubed then. Do we have volume problems yet? No, but they will be eventually. Okay, anything else from homework stuff? No, okay. So, let's do this. Let's do this first. Which word do I, let's finish this one up first, and then I want to talk about Pythagorean theorem, because that's in a few problems in there. And then there's something else I got to remember when I talk about. Everybody has this sheet. Where are you? There you are. This sheet here, with the rope being cut. We didn't finish this one yet. Oh, this is cool. Oh, you need one?
Yeah, sorry.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
So here is something I want to talk about before we go back to this. So let's talk about, might as well talk about a few things about triangles. Everybody know what kind of triangle this is? That's right. Sorry. And in fact, all right, so let's talk about this right triangle for a second. Let's call this side A. Let's call this side B. We'll call this side C. Which side is which side is the most important side, in a sense? C. In fact, which side will always be the biggest side?
C.
And think about it. I always think about this. You guys have seen movies. I always think about the Rancor in Star Wars, where he put the stick in his mouth. Seen these things where they open their mouth, they put the stick in it so they can't eat you? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Okay. So the bigger it opens up, the longer the stick can be that fits in its mouth, right? And which angle is the biggest in this thing, and why? How many total degrees are there in any triangle?
150.
180. I love it. Why?
I don't know.
Because we all got together and said that's what it's going to be? No. All right, let's figure out why. Let's see. Ready? Let me do what I can. That's a little better. And by the way, I love how this is not really straight. If I have a rectangle, get a better. Yeah. If I have a rectangle, of course each angle is what? 90. So how many total degrees are in this one?
300.
That's right. Now, to make this a little more general, I'm not going to make triangles yet. If I were to crush this thing a little bit, like somebody's going to lean on this bad boy, what shape is this?
I have no idea. Offset rectangle.
What shape is that? They're like,
Alien.
if it's a square that was pushed over, it's a rhombus. If it's but this is not a rhombus. If it's a rectangle that's been pushed over, that is a parallelogram.
Oh.
Can you guys see why? Can you guys see why? See why we chose to call this a parallelogram? Because both its pairs of sides are. Hey, it's crazy. We're like really creative. What are we gonna call this thing? It's called a parallel. It's called parallelogram. So that's how math naming works most of the time. Now, can you guys see how this angle got bigger now?
Yeah, because he slanted.
Yes. Do you see that? And then this angle got smaller by the same amount. So how many total degrees are still in this thing? 360. Now, any triangle is going to be half of some parallelogram.
Wow.
You with me?
Yes.
So therefore, a triangle is going to have half of 360, 180. That's all that shit means. You with me? And again, really, now watch this. Another thing while I'm talking about this. Here's the base. Here's the height. The area of this is going to be base times height. The area of the whole thing. You with me? What's the area of this? Length times width. And so why? And the width here happens to be the height. That's the only reason why. Now here's the base and the height. The area of that is base times height for the whole thing. What's the area of a triangle going to be? Chop. Half base times height. Doesn't that sound familiar? Right? No?
Yes.
I'm sure somebody must have shown some of y'all guys this. That's why there's a freaking 1/2 in the equation of a triangle. It's because it is 1/2 of an image that has b times h as its area. That just makes sense. But the degrees work the same way. So the total degrees in this sucker, I'm going to call this one B. I'm going to call this one A. Do you see why? I'm going to call this one C. So how big is angle C, of course? 90. And then what's B plus A plus C have to be?
180.
Good. We just said that, right? The total degrees in a triangle is 180. No matter what kind of triangle it is. You guys semi with me?
Yeah.
At least in the geometry we use. There are like balloon geometries where the triangles, anyway, I'm not going to go there. We're just going to use our normal geometry. It's 180 degrees. I'm sorry, I said anything. Okay. So, and the last thing I want to say with this up here. So remember this, if I'm talking about angles in a triangle, I will not state this. You have to know the equation will be add up all the angles to make 180. You will see that in a minute. But coming back to this picture, do you guys know Pythagorean theorem?
Yeah.
Do you guys know that Pythagoras had a lot of followers that did most of his work for him, and then he took the credit. You guys, you know about that?
He's a horrible guy.
He's a jackass.
For real.
But he got his name attached to the stuff, so oh well, too bad. Stay with them. Does anybody know what Pythagorean theorem says about a right triangle? Does anyone know? So watch this. Stay with me. This is kind of cool. Yeah. Watch. So I could draw a little square off the side of this, right? And so what would this area be for this square? A squared. I could draw a square off of this. What would the area be for this one? Holy shit. Now, look what I've done to myself at all. I could draw,
Bruh.
that just happened. Pretend like that's even the scale or whatever. We're renting this, by the way, too, so oh well. What's the area of this square?
This is crazy.
C squared, right? What's really cool is there's a video on YouTube somewhere where they have water, they've developed this little triangle and they have these things that can hold water, and when you rotate it, the water perfectly fills up these other two squares. So the area of the small square plus the area of the other square equals the area of the biggest square. That's Pythagorean theorem. So now watch how I can use this. If I had a 3, 4, if this was 3 and this was 4, how long will this be?
Seven.
Well, what side is this?
Square.
This is C, right? That's the most important side. Which one's A and B? I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter which one's A or B. So how would I fill in the equation then?
3 squared.
3 squared
Plus 4 squared.
plus 4 squared equals C squared. What's 3 squared? What's 4 squared? What's 9 plus 16? So what's C? 5. Right? So what squared is 25? 5. So this would be a 3, 4, 5 triangle. Has anyone ever heard that 3, 4, 5 triangle? But now you know what it means. Now if I just made up numbers here, 2, 7, that's going to be gross. It's going to be the square root of something. Do you guys see what I'm saying? At all? You guys at all with me?
Yeah.
Some of you guys are looking at me, but you're looking at me like, what have I done with me? Stay with me now. Stay with me. Some of this hopefully is familiar. There's also like a 5, 12, 13 triangle. There's a few triangles that are called Euler triplets. Is it Euler? There's a Euclid triplet. I can't remember. 5 squared plus 12 squared is 13 squared. Oh, so anyway, that's enough of that. So this is Pythagorean theorem. It only works for a right triangle. There is an equation that works for other triangles. It's just a little bit, well, it's quite a bit more gross than this. You have to know some trigonometry, but this is all we're going to have to worry about right here. Okay.
For the whole class?
No, for right now. Good catch, though. Good try. So look at this last problem. See how much you can set up for number 3 there. And let me know if you don't have the paper I am referencing right now. Up. Okay, wait a minute. Holy shit. Okay, let me just leave one for myself. How's that?
Your camera didn't get you to draw on the
Oh, really? Why not?
show it to him. Show it to the fans.
Those people at home, for whatever reason.